Hey guys, welcome back. I decided to maybe start a different channel, and one of my other channels is about retirement and all the kind of optimizations around retirement, just the mindset around it. But this channel, I kind of got to thinking about it because of a guy I started following who recently retired to the Philippines. And it's interesting. His channel is called Jogo Wonder. Very interesting guy, just a North Carolina guy, very down to earth, very, very happy. But if you listen to his stories between many of his videos, he talks about how he ended up in the Philippines, and he basically sold everything. He prepared for like 3 years, saved enough money to go out there. He's divorced, but he saved enough money to, over a 3-year period, to live out there. And he talks about his first days and also the days afterwards. I think he's been there for like 90 days, and he's just a very happy guy, very just happy. And he was talking about people in his comment section about why people think he's so happy, and it's because he said that he had felt free, like this burden on his shoulders is no longer there. It's like lifted. And the burdens he indicated were, the burdens of life, the burdens of being a father, a husband, but also being burdened of living in the United States, where in many cases it just seems very much stacked against you. I can only imagine, he said that he was divorced, and I can only imagine what the guy went through. And I think any guy who's gone through divorce, I think it's such a traumatic experience. I know a lot of my friends, they've turned out okay, but I think it was very hard for them, to live in such a manner and to have expenses as such and to do things that you have to do, not because you want to do. And I actually almost went through that experience just recently, and who knows, maybe I could be going through it right now because it's still somewhat fresh, but I actually had to go and get some advice on that particular subject. And trust me, guys, it's not something you want to do. And anybody out there, you guys, the younger dudes out there, I strongly urge you to follow a guy named Jimmy Sexton on the internet. He's a divorce attorney, but listen to what he says. Don't listen to the noise about divorce. Listen to the signal of divorce. And what it really entails is that you have to choose your partner wisely. You have to have tough conversations, as hard as it may be, up front. I was never ever good at that. I'm a kind of person that, even though on the surface I can be somewhat aggressive, but under the covers I really don't like confrontation. And I don't like having conversations that involve money or about how people feel, like, are you in love with each other? Are you this or that? I hate those types of conversations, and I really regret now not having those with my wife, because I think if you have those conversations up front, it will kind of show you a path, as hard as it may be in your younger years to accept breakups or failure in a relationship. Sometimes the reason why you're experiencing that is because you're afraid to be alone. And personally, I felt the same way. I was always afraid to be alone. But you know what? You got to overcome that. You need to drive forward, and you need to set goals in your life and keep pushing forward to those goals, because all of those other things like relationships and love, they will all kind of merge into that lane eventually if you choose to pursue that. But I would rather not pursue. I would let it just happen. And these are one kinds of things I tell my son. I said, don't ever pursue love, don't ever pursue romance, or don't ever beg for a woman to be with you. I think the most important thing is you set your goals and you keep driving towards it, and people who will come and go in your life, and you assess each one independently at the time, and if it doesn't meet your criteria, then move on. Because the worst thing to do is to compensate for your own beliefs. I don't know if that's the right word, but to settle, I guess is the word. To settle for second best. Never ever do that. I think as men, 55-year-old guys especially, which I am, One of the reasons I chose to want to move to Thailand is because I recognize that in the past few months, I just feel overwhelmed and overburdened. I'm completely burnt out in the job. I really need some time off, but to me, it seems like my time off should be an extended time off. So I grapple with the fact that maybe I need to retire rather than just take vacation. But having said that, I don't think I'm outside the camp of any guy out there where we have constant burdens of life. You know, being a father, being a husband, being the breadwinner, doing things for your children, all of these things that are required of us, they add up. And, you know, we're only human. We can only do so much as a human being can do. But there's so many things stacked up against men, and just stacked up against us even just now and economically. I mean, forget about what you read about the politics with Trump and all this other stuff. It is a fact that things have gotten wildly expensive, almost to the point where these things are just, I mean, everywhere you're going, somebody's trying to get some dough out of you. My recent experiences around insurance, I'm having to insure this or that, insure that. You know, I'll tell you a quick story. We have 4 cats. One of my cats, the one I love the most, Sammy, for some ungodly reason decided he's going to escape one night when I let 3 of the cats out. They kind of go out in my property and they hang out and then they come back in. Well, that evening I just happened to not bring in Sammy. I don't know why, I probably forgot. That's what most likely happened. I'm getting old and senile. Well, Sammy didn't come back the next morning as I was doing yard work, and he didn't come back for 27 more days. And, you know, I was looking everywhere for this guy. I went door to door, flyers, etc., the whole 9 yards. Well, I had a very, very tough conversation with my wife around certain things around her business, and it just culminated to a point where we got into a little bit of a challenge. And the next day, Sammy came back, and I took that as a sign that, you know, regardless of what your situation is, family is very, very important, and you should try and keep family together, because this guy decided to come back at the strangest time of our kind of journey in our marriage. And so I took him to the vet, and the story I'm trying to tell you is not only that he gave me a sign, but he also gave me a big bill. I mean, just to get him checked out that day at a vet, like it was a July 4th weekend, was like $800. And then my wife took him to a secondary vet to be able to take care of what he needed. That was $2,000. I mean, this is for an animal. Now, you know, I love my cat, trust me. I think any pet owner out there loves their animals. There's no question about it. But that's insanity. I mean, $2,000 to get an animal checked out. And so these are the things that just weigh down on people. I mean, like, thankfully, I have an occupation that pays me pretty well. I hope it can last into perpetuity, but, you know, the economy is changing in what I do. And coupled by the fact that I'm not so into it anymore. But, you know, I don't know. I mean, I think guys all our age are just struggling to keep up. And it's so hard to keep up. And I don't blame many people out there. I mean, if you just look even everywhere, there's just so much craziness going on. Even like all these problems in the subway, or if you look on YouTube, people are like getting in fights. It's because of the stress of life. Like, everybody's just trying to get from A to B. The people in the airport who are, you know, Spirit Airways, when they're having all these fights, I mean, there is something to be said about the personas of people who fly that airline, but there's another that this airline is just so unreliable that people they're just trying to get to some place, and, you know, they're just hoping that they've done the right thing by paying and that they would get the corresponding service. And when it doesn't pan out, you know, because of extraordinary type of events, I don't blame them for getting all pissed off and going bonkers like that. I mean, everything is just so complicated now. And, you know, this is just a way of me saying that there's got to be a better answer. I mean, this guy, Jogo Wonder, he found out that he's just going to go to the Philippines and hang out in Dumaguete, which is where a bunch of these expats live. But the reason he's going there is because his dollar is going to go further. His lifestyle would be better, and it is. I mean, if you look at what he's doing every day, he's riding around his scooter, going to the beach, hanging out, being invited to parties. He met some young lady he didn't want to. His funniest joke is saying, man, I don't even want to have a relationship. I'm more interested in buying a PS5 than having a relationship. I mean, I can't disagree with him. You know, it just seems like it's so funny. If, with all the things you've accumulated, with all the burdens of the accumulation, if you can get rid of it all, can you imagine how liberating it would be? I would not mind one bit to get rid of all my cars, my beautiful home, which I would just gladly give to my wife or my children, and just be free. In closing, I'll just tell you this one little story. Probably not going to get it right, but you know, I think the story goes that there's a fisherman down in Central America, took out an investment banker to go fishing. And they caught all this fish. And of course, the investment banker, being the entrepreneurial guy he is, starts pitching him an idea of how he can securitize his business, get capital to increase the business, you know, make 100 different franchises of his fishing kind of business, and then sell it for an IPO, and then go hang out on the beach. And he says, well, that's all what I'm doing already. I mean, I don't need to do all that. I've already arrived. And it reminds me also another story. When I got married, I was down in Costa Rica on my honeymoon, and I remember catching fish. My wife chartered a boat for me. We were catching all these amberjacks, and I was catching them. I mean, it was like throwing it in and pulling it out. And I caught so much, and I kept like 5 of them. I wanted one to have for sushi at my resort, and I gave the rest to these guys on my boat. And they were just so happy to get fish, because that's sustenance, that's surviving, and they don't have to go to a market to pay for that. They just plucked it out of the ocean with, you know, just putting some effort into it. And I wouldn't mind that kind of lifestyle. I think I long, quite frankly, to just live a simple life, just like I'm sitting here doing this video, where it's just nice and quiet, and not have to worry about anything out there. No burdens of bills, no burdens of college for my children, no burdens of anything. Anyways, this may be a little bit of a sad video. I hope I didn't depress y'all, but you know, as a 55-year-old guy, I think, you know, Rogan has said this, we suffer quietly, we suffer silently. And I know there's a lot of you dudes out there probably feeling the same. I'm hoping you caught my video, because I hope this resonates with you. And tell me, man, I would love to talk with you guys. I think there needs to be more of a support network for older guys, because we need it. And for older women too. I mean, it goes 2 ways. I mean, I know a lot of women out there struggling. I have a friend right now. She's divorced and has 4 children, 2 from a previous marriage and 2 from another marriage, and she's having to raise them now. Anyways, that's it for this vlog. I'm going to continue making some more out there. I'm just going to talk about things that, you know, weigh on, I think, our guys' mind, and I'm hoping that I'll get more comments on this kind of video than I did on my last one, so I'll address them. Anyways, peace out.